good day from me and this little stream. It's near my house, and crows with us. So I just wanted to speak to what I've received that we're going through at the moment. I had a really beautiful healing journey with my spirit guide the other day, and since then I've kind of been digesting how that information that I received needs to come through to everyone. And basically what I experienced was like a rite of passage, and I feel that at the moment all of us as a species are going through this mass rite of passage. You know, usually rites of passage would be things like vision quests, where you'd go off to a mountaintop for 4 days with no food and water, and face your fears and begin to remember who you truly are and what your soul's calling is. And so this time is that, but on a collective level. Like, we're all going through at the same time, this forced isolation and this need to turn inward and face our fears. And fear is what this is all about. We live in a fear paradigm. We are controlled through fear. It comes at us from every level. We are completely entrenched in it. And it's, to keep us from our own power. And so this is a real opportunity now as a species to really face all of our fears and be able to truly begin to live our truest, highest, most beautiful soul's calling of what we came here to do. And so really looking at this as an initiation, as a rite of passage into a new way of being. Unplug, disconnect from anything that causes fear or anxiety within you. Do it consciously. Look around you and figure out what fills you up, what fills your being up, and do more of that. Like this, more than ever right now, we have an opportunity to really dive deep into our spiritual practice and to really hone it and understand how we can be well in ourselves and as a collective species, like all of us together. So rather moving through this time in panic and wondering whether you have enough hand sanitizer and loo roll, like really very seriously looking at this as a rite of passage. And how are you going to approach this? Are you going to find your inner strength and your groundedness and your centeredness so that you can fly free and be free from this paradigm of fear? When I had my healing journey the other day, it was the birds that came, and they had a really beautiful message about really detaching ourselves and seeing the big picture and living in a place of love and not of fear. And it was so profound and so true. They gave me the name of a book that was written, I believe, in the 90s, called The Return of the Bird Tribes. And it really explains in a lot more detail and a lot more eloquently than I can explain it what my healing journey was about. So it's available online. It's only a 3-hour read. I really recommend diving into that or rereading it if you read it some time ago. So this is a time to do your work, to go in and bury your hands into your soul garden and pull out all the roots of fear from within you. And the moon last night, as I was looking at her, reminded me of a sickle, where we can ask the moon's energy right now, the crescent moon energy, to be like a sickle, to cut away all the dead growth that's preventing the seed of transformation from growing within you. So I urge you to sit with your fears, name them, make lists of them, bring them into the light, and then release them and move through this into a state of grace, a state of beauty. The week leading up to my healing that I had, I felt very discombobulated, and I felt really not in my body. I felt really tapped into the collective fear and panic, and it was really hard for me to try and ground that energy and ground myself. And then I started to feel extremely uncomfortable in my physical being, and experienced some very strange symptoms. And as I sat with it, the only time I can ever think of having felt like that was when I've been birthing my children, and being in the transition stage of getting ready to pass through a gateway, a portal, to birth a child. There's something, that transition stage is that piece right before we go through this really profound initiation as a woman. It's like you're standing on the threshold at that point. And it can be very uncomfortable, like something within you has to break open so that you can allow the new life to come through. And that's really how I was feeling in my being. And so being able to push through all my fear, and the Matrix movie kept popping into my head too, like really unplugging from this false reality of fear. Like, we can choose not to live in fear. We can choose to just be present and know that death visits everyone, but our perception of death is probably very far removed from the actual beauty that is present with death. In my experience, births and deaths are beautiful, honoring, sacred times that are incredibly and powerful transitions and rites of passage. So use this time to be in that state of, this is my rite of passage. I'm going to dig my hands in deep and pull out my fears and face them. And so if any of you would like me to do a guided journey meditation around this, if enough of you would like me to do that, I will. And I do offer mentoring around rites of passage and coming into your own authentic way of being in the world. So if anyone needs any inspirations or help moving through that, please know that I am here, and reach out. So be well and enjoy this beautiful time of initiation, and let's birth a new earth, because really that's what needs to happen. And I truly believe we created this virus within ourselves. It's like a metaphor for our fears, and we created it so that we could be released from it. In homeopathy, we really look at disease states as sometimes being, it's the healing that needs to take place, the healing crisis that happens. So this is a healing crisis, a rite of passage. Use it wisely, and let's spread the message. Yeah. Create our own virus of love and beauty and community. May the balance be restored.